I once had a friend, or at least I thought I did. We met often, went for coffee, shared stories about work, talked about our dreams for the future. Everything seemed perfectly normal. Until one day when I excitedly shared a project I had just completed, I received a flat smile and a brief, indifferent response. Well, that's not a big deal. That day I smiled and brushed it off, but that night I couldn't sleep, not because of what was said, but because of the heavy, suffocating air I had felt, something I'd never had the words for, until now. From that moment I started paying closer attention. The sideways glances, the awkward hugs, the half-hearted compliments, and I began to see it clearly. Some people stay close to you, but deep down, they don't want you to go far. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And perhaps the presence of those who carry opposing energy disguised as friendliness is one of the clearest expressions of that unconscious. If you have ever felt uneasy or drained after being with someone, or sensed a strange tension, like they don't hate you, but also aren't genuinely happy for you, then this message is for you. In this reflection, we'll explore 8 subtle but revealing signs, what Carl Jung called manifestations of the shadow in others' souls. These are hidden but powerful indicators that someone may be secretly working against you, even if they appear kind on the surface. Sign number 1, repeated sarcasm, disguised as humor. When contempt is masked with laughter. Have you ever forced a smile at a joke where you were clearly the target? The person might say, "Relax, this is just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." But deep inside, you know that something's not right. Carl Jung identified this as a sign of the shadow self, the hidden, unconscious part of us filled with unprocessed emotions, envy, and inner conflict. When someone feels jealousy, resentment, or disdain toward you, they may not confront you outright. Instead, they use sarcasm as a mask, coding hostility and humor. Comments like, "Oh, wow, you look so flashy today," with a smirk, or "Look at you, so successful, probably getting promoted tomorrow, huh?" are not harmless teasing. They are covert expressions of condescension. When sarcasm is repeated, especially around one aspect of who you are, your appearance, achievements, or personality, it's no longer just friendly banter. It becomes a form of masked contempt, a subtle attack hiding behind a smile. If you often leave conversations with this person feeling small, unsettled, or vaguely angry, your body and intuition might be alerting you to an emotional ambush. Instead of reacting immediately, take note of the pattern and how frequently it occurs. Respond calmly, for example. "Are you saying that seriously or joking? It didn't really sit well with me." Hold clear emotional boundaries. People who truly love and support you won't tear you down to lift themselves up. Sign number 2, accidental sabotage. When someone always derails your momentum at critical moments, there are people who say they support you. But strangely, every time you're on the brink of something important, they accidentally forget, mess up, or say the wrong thing that throws everything off. Carl Jung explained this behavior through projection. When a person can't face their own insecurities, they unconsciously try to pull others down to avoid confronting their own fear of inadequacy. They might promise to send you important documents, then forget. Say they'll remind you of a meeting, then go silent. Or worse, in a meeting, bring up something you weren't prepared to discuss, leaving you flustered. At first, it seems like an innocent mistake. But if these accidents keep happening, especially during your key moments, it's no longer a coincidence. It's subtle sabotage, wrapped in a cloak of innocence. Pay attention if you constantly feel like you're missing your rhythm whenever they're involved. If this becomes a pattern, start asking deeper questions. What to do? Begin planning independently. Don't rely on them for critical steps. When you see a clear pattern, talk directly. "I've noticed you've forgotten some really important things lately, especially ones I've counted on you for." That's not okay with me. Limit what you share, especially future plans, until you feel certain they won't interfere. Sign number 3, silent competition. When every conversation turns into a contest, you just shared the news that you got a promotion, and they instantly mention how they were invited to a much tougher project. You talk about your weekend getaway, and they boast about their upcoming, more luxurious trip. Every time you share something joyful, they somehow find a way to make it seem less impressive. This is one of the clearest signs of subtle competition, rooted in deep-seated insecurity. According to Carl Jung, when someone hasn't come to terms with their own shadow, feelings of inferiority, jealousy, or unfulfilled ambition, they project those emotions onto others. They can't tolerate your light because it magnifies their sense of lacking. The issue isn't that they have stories too. It's how they tell them and when they insert them. If they always try to overshadow your wins, if they never really listen but just wait for their turn to speak, you're likely facing someone in covert competition with you. The clearest sign? You start feeling dimmed in your own story, and you begin to ask yourself, maybe I shouldn't share things anymore. Don't join the invisible race. Hold your energy and avoid deep sharing with people who make you feel constantly compared. And if needed, say it gently but clearly. I was hoping to be heard, not to compete. Sign number 4, half-hearted support. When compliments come without sincerity, they say they're happy for you, but their eyes don't smile. They text, "Congrats," but you can feel something's off. And when you actually need support, they vanish or offer a laundry list of excuses. This is a form of false encouragement, a masked discomfort or envy dressed up in politeness. Carl Jung once said, "We wear masks to survive in society, but sometimes the mask becomes so thick that people forget they're even pretending." Those who don't truly want to see you succeed will hide behind polite words, but your intuition will detect the dissonance. A common example, you share your big news and they say, "That's nice," and immediately change the subject. Or worse, they quietly disappear during your important moments. Graduation, a launch event, and a personal celebration. They may not do anything wrong, but their absence, their minimal effort, or hollow energy leaves you feeling isolated in your joy. Don't ignore the disappointment when someone who should be there for you simply isn't. Pay attention to actions, not words. Who actually shows up when it matters? Reduce expectations for those who can't celebrate you sincerely. This protects your emotional well-being. Build relationships rooted in real energy, where you never have to question someone's kindness. Sign number 5, control disguised as concern. When I care about you becomes an invisible leash. They ask what you're eating, where you're going, who you're seeing, and at first it feels like genuine care, but over time, it starts to feel suffocating. Every choice you make is questioned, judged, or corrected. Instead of support, they constantly advise you to do things the better way. What began as love or protection slowly morphs into emotional control. Carl Jung noted, the more out of control someone feels inside, the more they will try to control others. They latch onto directing your life as a way to soothe their inner chaos. And the most dangerous part? They don't even realize they're doing it because they believe it's love. Common examples. You mention changing jobs. They immediately warn you of every risk. You talk about dating someone new. They flood you with subtle warnings and pessimism. Deep down, they don't trust your judgment. And eventually, neither do you. Clear sign. Every time you follow their advice, you feel more tired, more confused, or more doubtful about yourself. Ask yourself, is this really care or is it control masked as love? What to do? Set a gentle boundary. I know you care, but I want to make this decision for myself. Trust your intuition. If someone consistently makes you feel smaller after every conversation, that's not healthy love. Sign number 6, whispering behind your back. When they don't confront you but quietly dismantle your image. One day you notice someone in your circle pulling away. No one says anything, but the glances change. There's distance now, subtle but unmistakable. And eventually you realize that someone's been spreading twisted stories about you. Those who harbor unprocessed negative emotions often lack the courage to face things head-on. So instead, as Carl Jung explained, they project their inner wounds by tearing others down to escape facing their own insecurities. They don't speak badly of you because you did something wrong. They do it because your presence threatens their unhealed self-worth. A familiar pattern: they once knew your secrets, but after jealousy, misunderstanding, or silent resentment, they begin to share your private truths, distorted, under the guise of, "I'm just letting you know." But their words plant doubt. They chip away at how others see you, using half-truths and quiet manipulation. Clear sign: you sense someone is influencing how others perceive you, even though you've done nothing wrong. What to do? Don't confront in anger. Instead, observe quietly and protect your trust. Don't try to clear your name with everyone. Let consistency and time reveal the truth. Most importantly, stay centered. Refuse to retaliate in the same way. That's how you rise above and stay whole. Sign number 7, they're not happy for your success when their smile doesn't reach their eyes. You share the good news, a promotion, a completed project, or simply that you're feeling joyful and fulfilled. They nod, they say, "Oh, that's great," but something feels cold. There's a strange distance in their eyes, in their voice, and you sense it. They're forcing it. Not everyone can truly celebrate your growth. Carl Jung called this shadow resentment, the unconscious envy that arises when someone else achieves something you haven't allowed yourself to even pursue. These people aren't upset because you did something wrong. They're uncomfortable because your success mirrors their unhealed dreams. You become a living reflection of what they've been avoiding. The pattern: you share a meaningful win. They quickly change the subject, or they immediately mention something they did long ago just to balance the spotlight. They don't celebrate. They compete silently or dismiss it with casual indifference. Clear sign: every time you share joy, you feel cut off, brushed aside, or awkwardly silenced. What to do? Pay attention to who's truly with you and who's just next to you. Protect your joy. Share it with those who honor your light, not those who dim it. Don't shrink because someone else feels small. Your success does not need anyone's permission to exist. Sign number 8, their body betrays their words. When the body speaks what the mouth tries to hide, they smile at you. They say kind things, but their eyes look away. Their shoulders stiffen. Their hands freeze. A strange silence drops after you share something meaningful. No insults, no harsh words, and yet something feels wrong. Carl Jung reminded us, the body and the unconscious never lie. The body cannot pretend. Even when the mouth is trained in politeness, the body will always reveal the truth. Example: you talk about a new milestone. They say, "Congrats," but their tone shifts. Their face hardens. They quickly glance away. You seek comfort. They offer words, but their eyes are vacant and their arms remain crossed. Their body doesn't match their message. Clear sign: you feel disconnected, off, or emotionally unreceived. Even though the interaction was polite, your body knows. The tension in your chest, the chill in your spine, the sudden unease. These are messages. What to do? Observe, don't accuse. You don't need to confront, just create space. Trust your somatic intelligence. If someone's presence consistently makes you feel uncertain, it's not your imagination. Avoid leaning emotionally on those who send mixed signals, because they themselves are still fragmented. According to Carl Jung, the shadow, that hidden darkness within each of us, doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. Instead, it reveals itself quietly through our relationships, emotional reactions, and even the people we choose to keep close. And sometimes, the shadow in others is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting back the parts of ourselves we've yet to face. I no longer blame that former friend. I now understand that behind that cold smile were unhealed wounds, unreleased failures, and the unmet expectations they had for themselves. But I also understand this: I am not obligated to absorb the negative energy they are not yet ready to heal. Personally, I believe that learning to recognize who truly supports you and who merely stays close without wanting you to grow is an essential skill for emotional survival. You don't need to confront or expose anyone. You simply need to stay aware enough to set boundaries and protect your peace. In the end, what matters isn't how many compliments you receive, but who genuinely celebrates your growth without envy. Choose your companions. Don't let shadow energy hold you back. If these words resonate with you, don't hesitate to share your personal story in the comments below. You never know, your truth might help someone else wake up to theirs. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to explore more powerful content on psychology, identity, and inner growth. If you know someone who's entangled in vague, energy-draining relationships, please share this video with them. Sometimes just naming the unseen is enough to save a soul that's been quietly manipulated without even realizing it.